This is Twit.
So, Scarlett, we knew that name.
Yep.
We knew it would be spelled with 2 T's for reasons no one knows.
Yep.
But we didn't know it wouldn't come out this year, or did we?
Yeah. You know what? When Sony announced earlier this year that their next PlayStation wouldn't arrive until 2020, maybe that should have been a clue.
Yeah.
I don't think Microsoft has ever fared well launching earlier than Sony. I guess they didn't fare well launching at the same time as Sony either, actually. But we probably should have anticipated that. I have to be honest, I did not. I was surprised by that. So I thought we were going to see the next-gen Xbox this holiday season. I think that lines up pretty neatly if you look at the release schedule thus far. The original Xbox to the S to the X to what this would have been I think it's a clean couple of years in each case, but that's not what's happening.
So the Xbox original, I remember this because I went up to Seattle for the big event, was November 2001.
That's right. The first one.
Right.
The first one. I'm talking about Xbox One especially. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think of what the cadence is. And then how long before Xbox 360? Was that 4 years? 3 years.
It was 2005. And it preceded the PlayStation 3 by 1 year, if I remember correctly. That one didn't come out until 2006.
Okay.
The original Xbox, let's see if I can do math, which we know I can't.
So
stop. Don't hurt yourself, Paul.
No, 2013, right? The original Xbox One.
Yeah.
2015 for the Xbox One S. 2017 for the Xbox One X.
Although I would say all the ones are kind of a. I mean, there's not huge differences, are there? Or are there?
No. There
that's
are a lot
a generation.
Yeah, but that's what Scarlett is really, right? So if you look at the Xbox One X today and you say, okay, here we have this 4K console. It can technically play 4 games, but let's be serious.
Right.
It's not really hitting 4K all the time.
No.
Game makers have the ability to decide what capabilities they're going to include. They might choose frame rate over resolution. They might go in the reverse, et cetera, et cetera. So how would you fix this console, right? Obviously, it's going to be backward compatible. It's going to run the same game, same controller, same.
That was, I thought, interesting. They said it would run all the previous Xbox games, right?
Well, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. See, I think the one thing people are maybe misunderstanding here is that this is not a new kind of console. This is a new Xbox One, right? This is going to be the 4th Xbox One. How they brand that, I guess we'll see, but that's what this is. It's not a brand new from, greenfield development kind of new thing. It's an Xbox One. So it's going to be an evolution of the Xbox One X. Well, what would that be? Well, to me, it was always really obvious. This thing has to be 4K all the time at 60 frames per second all the time. That has to be the baseline for this thing. And that is literally the baseline for this thing. It will exceed those in certain ways, but it will exceed those in the same way that the Xbox One X was or is 4K. In other words, 8K graphics, but you're not going to get 60 frames a second, or 120 frames a second, which is another part of it. The ability to run at 120 frames a second. It's not going to do both of those all the time. It's probably going to do both of those never together. I mean, that's not the point of this thing. The point is what I said earlier. It really is about 60 frames per second, 4K, 100% of the time. That's the baseline, and that I feel is reason enough to justify the existence of this product. And I think it also just speaks to the strategy with this generation of consoles, which is to keep all the backward compat and keep all of your stuff moving forward. So if you're the owner of a previous gen Xbox One, whichever version it is, you're always going to have a better experience when you buy a newer console and 100% backward compatibility. And so this is, continuing that trend. I think it's great. It's really smart. It's the right thing to do. It's the obvious thing to do. I'm surprised it's not happening this year, but that's whatever.
They say 4 times faster.
Yeah, well, Apple says 100 times faster. I mean,
it's that kind of number. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, well, you have to. Aren't you always a little suspicious? Not to
That's
use the
a large number, a round number.
Yeah. I mean, it's like somehow after 13 years of having iPhones, we were able to increase the battery life by 50%. It's like, really? Like what were you doing?
It's called magic, Paul.
Yeah.
The Xbox is interesting to me because it's weird where Microsoft has kind of gone cheap. You get Xboxes that have traditional hard drives in them, right? And this is an area where a fairly inexpensive part could dramatically increase the performance. And I think with the Scarlett, what we're finally seeing, in addition, we don't, the AMD processor will probably be very similar to what we see on the Sony side or whatever. But I think there's going to be some smarter things being done with other components in the system. This is something you see in smartphones, by the way. OnePlus does this with the ultra-fast storage on the OnePlus 7 Pro, or you see it with faster RAM on different devices.
Yeah, it's going to be GDDR6 in this.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
those
things all have a material impact. It's not just about the processor. It's not just about the graphics processor.
Ray tracing and the Radeon RDNA graphics.
Yeah, all the components have to step up and work in harmony for this thing to be as good as it can be. And it seems like, I mean, we'll see. We don't know the exact specs, but it seems like they're finally doing that.
I have to say, I mean, 8K kind of makes me laugh, since even a year from now there won't be any 8K sets, or very few.
But maybe
maybe they can
still picture.
Yeah, maybe they can do. If they could do 8K, maybe they can actually do 4K.
Well, but that's the point. It's really 4K, and like I said earlier, literally that is the point.
Yeah.
I'm sure an Xbox One X can do a super steady 1080p.
Right.
Sure,
exactly.
I'm sure it can.
Exactly.
1440p maybe. It's not. I can assure you, when I play Call of Duty, whatever, it's not running at 4K anything. It's a much lower resolution because the frame rate really matters in games.
Phil Spencer said a weird thing though. He said we're going to continue to support discs.
I know.
That sounded odd to me.
Yeah, right. So you were just talking earlier. I don't remember if it was before the show or during the show. I guess it was during the show about the future of 5G and fast connections and everything. And that is the future. But it's something I don't think Microsoft can count on, and Microsoft's customers can't count on, depending on where they live.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
And I think they would just be nervous about that kind of thing. The first Xbox, didn't it ship with a modem in it? Is that true, or was it just
right.
an Ethernet?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it might have had a modem in it.
This is 2001. You didn't have broadband in a lot of places.
Yeah, I think it did have an Ethernet port.
But remember when they announced the Xbox One, but the submarine?
Right. That guy notably no longer works with us.
Yeah, they said, it'll play everywhere. Well, maybe not if you're a submarine, and that was a mistake. But that was about bandwidth.
You don't want to lose the crucial military customers.
There are a lot of Xboxes in military installations all over the world, let me tell you.
Yeah. There are probably lots of PlayStations too, unfortunately.
Well, maybe a few more, but Yeah. So, this is not. Is there anything unexpected? I remember the rumors were there were going to be 2 versions of this.
Yeah. So nothing about that, but because we are a year and a half away,
it's a long way off.
That doesn't mean that could happen still. So,
and look how many versions of the Xbox One there have been.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a discless version of the S only for some reason, right? So we have 2 versions of the Xbox in market today. Actually, 3 technically with the discless version. They don't have a disc-less version of the 4K console. Given the size of the games we're going to see on this next console, especially, maybe it's like installing Windows 95 on a floppy. I don't even quite understand how these things fit on discs after a while. They're going to run into some storage concerns, I would imagine. I know that Blu-rays can go up pretty high, but some of them, like the Master Chief Collection or some of these bigger games, are many tens of gigabytes, terabyte-ish. Not terabyte, I'm sorry, 100 plus gigabyte-ish. You're going to run into some storage issues when it comes to disk-based delivery, and then the sheer amount of time it's going to take all that stuff off the disk and put it onto the console. I don't quite understand, but I don't know. He also said he said in an interview, I think it was today or yesterday, that this probably won't be the last console from Microsoft, and I sort of take that as a wink too, because I would be shocked if this wasn't the last one. This is not a business that Microsoft makes money on, hardware sales, console sales, and streaming is where they really could make a difference and really be profitable. And I think this is not just the future of gaming. I think it's the kind of the near future. This next generation may be where this transition occurs. So, we'll see. We'll see how it pans out.
Games? Did they talk about games?
Oh, Leo, did they talk about games? God, did they talk about
I kept switching to the stream of this thing and off, and I'm like, wait, they're still talking about games, millions of games.
Actually, all I see right now is people talking. This is the launch trailer.
Just talking, yeah.
Talking. Okay,
well, this is probably they're talking vaguely about the next console.
Yeah, this is from the E3 trailer, I guess. So there is a chip. The chip is on a board. There's a man with a beard. A very odd beard. There's another. There's a screwdriver screwing in something, and here we have. Doesn't look like a.
This guy looks like an extra from the Hobbit movies.
We have voltmeter. Okay, I don't know. I'm sorry I played this. I thought it would be exciting. I thought there'd be something. I thought there'd be.
Come on, it was about gaming. It's
a bunch of people talking. So, will there be 8K? Oh, there's the Halo Infinite. So this is the only launch game, right? Is it?
Is it the only launch game that we know about? Yeah, right now I think it is. I think that's accurate.
It looked like it's ray traced. I mean, the lighting looks pretty nice.
When you think about Halo, if you're familiar with the games, if you know what the graphics look like, what you're showing is immediately familiar.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's also of higher quality, which is great. That's what you should expect of a new version of anything. It looks better. Okay, neat. Yeah, that one we won't see that until late next year. I would assume that's when the console's going to launch, second half of the year. A couple of the games they talked about aren't coming until spring next year. I don't think they have anything to do with the new console. I think it's just a kind of a schedule thing. But there's a real E3 tradition kind of a thing that I frankly have always disagreed with, where E3 has to be just about games, And I think the things that go around games are as important to gaming as the games in many ways, right? The hardware, the peripherals, and now increasingly the services. And I was really surprised by how little time the hardware got. It was really just kind of sandwiched in between a bunch of game demos, the game trailers is what they were.
Yeah.
It is striking to me. This is not the first year it's been like this. In fact, it's been like this for a while. It's really interesting how many games look like movies in the trailers, and you can kind of tell they're just these interactive storytelling experiences.
They're cutscene heavy, though. I mean, even Mortal Kombat 11 on the Nintendo Switch, which doesn't have the greatest graphics engine ever, the cutscenes look spectacular. A lot of specular highlights, and they know how to make cutscenes look good because they render them. They pre-render them.
Yeah. What you want to see is cutscenes rendered game engine.
You want to see and you want to see gameplay.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we did see a lot of gameplay. That's fair, and I know a lot of the stuff was exciting. There was a bizarre moment with Keanu Reeves that, for some reason, was really exciting to people.
Keanu reveal at the very end of Cyberpunk 2077.
I obviously has no idea what this game is about, which is hilarious. He's got kind of a disarming. No, he's cool. He's got a cool style to it.
Did he put his arm around you because? There's an opportunity. There's pictures of Keanu all over the place with him, and what he does is he holds his hand out, puts his arm behind the person without touching them, and sticks his hand out straight. So it's very clear. If you look at any of the pictures, he has not touched any. I didn't touch her. It's the I didn't touch her gesture.
Wow. Right. Okay.
So my take on
isn't that wild? I mean, he
he
probably has to, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it's important, especially these days, right?
Yeah.
I like the guy, but I mean, video games allow an actor to be any age, and I think the interesting thing is that this game with Cyberpunk or whatever it's called, it gives the game makers to create a version of this man from when he's in the Matrix movies rather than now, which I think is what many fans are kind of looking for, and so that's fine. I mean, I thought that was kind of goofy, but it's weird that him showing up at this event was, for some reason, like the biggest, most exciting part of it for people. And I don't know if that says anything negative about Xbox or whatever, but I thought it was kind of weird. I thought this game looked really crappy before they showed this guy. Like, the characters in this thing are kind of horrible looking. It just seemed awful.
Yeah.
And then they fade to a picture of him graphically in the game.
Yeah.
And then what's it called?
Cyberpunk 2077.
I think he comes up right here at the end here.
Well, I'm playing at the end because I don't want to watch the whole thing. And then it's just him, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, Keanu. Whoa, that's it right there. That's the whole thing.
You guys didn't mention that Microsoft bought a gaming studio.
Not only a gaming studio, they bought Double Fine.
Yeah,
Right.
Psychonauts.
So
I know what that is. I don't.
Oh no,
but,
Double Fine is legendary among gamers.
I will say, so from my perspective, I don't know anything about these games. Actually, like this company's games mean nothing to me. But
no, they're not for you.
Yeah, but that guy walked out on stage, Average Joe, and he said something to the effect of, Microsoft called us up and they wanted to buy us, and he was like, yeah, I'll do anything you want. He's like, I can do that, Halo stuff, or I can do the Excel stuff. And then they were like, no, we just want you to keep making the games you make. And he's like, oh, thank God, I don't know anything about that other stuff. But
they're kind of the classic small indie game.
Yeah,
developers.
I thought that was like a genuine kind of a moment. I bet that actually happened. The way you described it.
I'm sure it was.
I thought that was that to me was actually the highlight of that keynote, or whatever you want to call that event, but the press event or whatever.
Here's Keanu getting incredible applause on stage. Incredible, man. Whoa, you guys are amazing. Rock and roll. Oh, my God. How close were you to him? Were you close, Paul? Oh, my God.
I was not there.
Oh, you weren't there. Oh, my God. They're so happy to see him. Look. This shows you how marginalized gamers still feel, even though the gaming industry makes more money than the entire movie industry. Mm-hmm. But we got this kind of B-list celebrity. Oh my God! Oh my God!
All right, so this is an interesting reminder of something that used to happen a lot in Microsoft press events like this, or conferences, whatever you want to call them. Back in the day. So remember The Rock came out at CES for one of the, I think it was one of the original Xbox events.
Yeah.
And just, and Mary Jo, you might remember this too. I think it was a Comdex or something a long time ago. They had brought out like Ralph Lauren or someone from Ralph Lauren one year, and he did part of one of the Microsoft keynotes. And there was a guy from the military that came out one time, same kind of a thing.
The pink Jeep guy, yep.
Yeah, and you have this weird moment where you realize, like, someone normal comes out on stage during an industry event, and you're like, oh my God, they're so much better than everyone we have. Like, they should do more of this.
Yeah. Because, they're performers.
They're actually, the industry stuff is really stiff.
Normal people. Hallelujah.
My daughter, by the way, I tweeted this. This is somehow has become one of the biggest tweets I've ever made. This is a true story too. She came home from school one day and she said, 17, she's an iPhone user. And she said, yeah, they made us watch the original launch of the iPhone event, Steve Jobs on stage and everything. And I said, yeah, I'm familiar with Kelly. I don't know if you know what you do for a living.
I cover the industry. You might have seen my blog.
This was her take on it. She said, I don't understand what everyone was so excited about.
Wow.
And she says, but I can tell you this. If they were to try to do that launch today, nobody would be excited by this.
Well, yeah.
I was like, that's okay. Yeah. That's interesting. But it's just kind of a jaded, normal human being's viewpoint of like an industry event, which is regarded as a industry case study that we studied forever. She was like, the
youngs are not like you and me.
No, well, she's.
Incidentally, Anthony Nielsen in our down the hall, one of our producers says, the Keanu-sance is real, and I'm here for it.
Oh, wow.
I guess because of John Wick 3 just came out. I guess I shouldn't call him a B-list celebrity. I just feel like I still see Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when I see him.
Okay, but have you watched the John Wick movies?
I watched the first 2, yes.
Yeah, so I assume Mary Jo has not.
No, they're not her cup of tea.
Who is John Wick? I don't even know who that is.
He's a bad dude.
Clearly a comic book character.
Some guy.
These movies are fundamentally terrible.
They're twisted.
Right?
Oh, they're awful. Yeah. Basically, it's the Death Wish, theme, which is he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's a dog lover, and then they killed his dog, and now he kills 450 people on screen in the most brutal way possible.
Oh, but it's slightly worse than you're describing because this occurs over 3 movies.
It keeps happening.
The puppy died at the beginning of the first movie. He doesn't stop killing people.
No, he's still mad. He's still mad.
Yeah, so it's over the top. You know, the one thing I really like about the movies is the Continental Hotel thing, where there's this place where all the assassins just stay.
Yeah, I do like that.
But as far as like, if you actually think about the movie itself, they're actually really terrible. They're terrible movies. Like, they're just terrible. And I don't understand. Like, the notion that this guy is somehow popular because of these movies is very strange to me. But whatever, it doesn't matter. I thought he was cool. It's fine. But again, I think it was just a reminder of, oh God, like, open the windows and the doors. There's like a world out there.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's true.
Like, if you actually look outside of this little world we're in, like, there's neat stuff out there, you know. And it just, to me, it makes all of the other presenters and all of the other content like all the less interesting. This is something Microsoft used to do a lot.
This is the John Wick kill count.
Jeez.
I think in one movie he kills 124 people with guns, 32 with swords and knives, 3 by horses, 1 by axe, 3 by motorcycle. Kills one guy with a book.
Yep.
And the dog kills another guy. So, geesh. This is not a movie for Mary Jo.
This is not my cup.
Not your cup.
What about the pencil? How many pencil kills?
Choked by wire, broken neck, a 2011 Dodge Charger, 6 people. Guns, bomb detonation. Oh, maybe the pencils are an other.
No, they're going to have to call it the pencil. The pencil is central to the mythology of the story.
Uh-huh.
Never kill a man's dog.
Yeah. So this is in the first one. 77 people killed. Never kill a man's dog is the moral of that story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty. But that's why Keanu's hot. And I take your point, Paul, is that we're still nerds. Again. I know. But again, we may have made more money than Hollywood.
We run the world.
Yeah. Google, Facebook, and Amazon and Apple are the most valuable companies ever conceived by human beings, but
combined,
we're still outcast nerds.
Europe.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
We're still outcast nerds, and who want acceptance. And if somebody like Keanu Reeves comes on stage, man, we've made it. We're big. We're big.
Just a little clue, people. Anyone can be bought, and the gaming industry has enough money, to make that happen. Anyway, it was an interesting moment.
Yeah,
it was an interesting moment.
And you know what? It's E3, and actually, this is why I kind of got over E3. I noticed neither of you went either. Because
I wanted to go. It was between these two trips. There was just no way I could go to LA in the middle of this.
I didn't want to go. I had no intention of going.
To me, it became disappointing because everything is something coming next year.
Yeah. So a lot of this stuff was supposed to be sooner than it ended up being, right?
Scarlett, for sure.
I mean, the console was a surprise. By the way, it's interesting that both Sony and Microsoft, I don't want to say delayed because I don't really have any information that it was supposed to happen. I think a lot of people assume this year. Aren't they both running off the same basic AMD architecture? Is that what was delayed? I mean, does that have something to do with it? I don't know, but I did expect that to happen this year. I don't have a count off the top of my head. There were some number of games that aren't happening until the spring. That's true of every E3, honestly.
Right.
There are a bunch of big games coming out this year for sure. There was a bunch of stuff that Microsoft announced that's coming out this year. So it's kind of a mix. I mean, obviously, ideally, this stuff hits the holiday season this year.